What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with another episode of Idle Chatter. Today, we're going to be talking about Guild Wars, and of course, we do have MKX Jump and June here once again. So, hopefully, they'll be able to give us a little bit of input. I know some of them don't know about some teaser updates we have, but they'll have to listen to Barry, and hopefully, Barry gets it right. So, yeah, so let's jump into it. Let's start off with the basic part, the prep phase, because I know a lot of people this week have guild members that they've complained have either didn't register in time, or I don't know why they wouldn't be registering in time. It's not very different from the old version. I think the old version you could kind of have like a 2-day leeway. Is that correct, guys? I know I always signed up the first day, but I feel like the old system, I feel like you could do we'll just cut this part out. Rude. Back it up. Go.
I'm already a giggle. I'm already like, I was just smiling the whole intro. I was like, I think I'm just gonna start laughing, like for no reason, no good reason.
Roasted it straight up. He's like, "Oh, I'm aware there are some people that don't fuck it." I'm like, just throw us under the bus straight away.
What the hell was that slam? She wanted out, so she slammed the door closed.
Oh man.
Okay. Anyway, let's continue. We'll just kind of cut that out, but all right.
Live TV.
Do live TV. So anyway, so with the prep phase, we do have a little bit of a different setup. Before, you only had to set up one team of 6, whereas now you have to set up a lot more. You need to set up 5 teams of 6, and you pick any one random location. It doesn't really matter where you pick. It does help if you pick a spot and try to even your power out within your guild so that the officers and leaders don't have to rearrange it later on, but you do need 5 teams. So what did you guys experience from the setup phase? I mean, I know I had to put a lot of just 5 stars in my lineups because, let's be honest, if you're not Jason or GDP, you don't have 5 lineups of heroes right now. So the lower ones are all very, very low quality. So what is your guys' experience or takes on the preparation phase, MK?
Well, I think I was kind of torn. Now that I've seen it, I'm curious whether you want to go ahead and put a full team of, like, an overpowered team of 6 straight at the top. Like, I get that that's always going to win, but then when you think about when you're playing, like, how many times, like, how many different nodes are there to attack? So many. So the chance that you lose is going to be increased if you've got crappy teams and then strong teams. If you make them all medium, when they're throwing just a bunch of level 100 heroes at them, they're going to lose. So I think there's a little bit of strategies there. But at least from my personal perspective, I treated it like Interdimensional Arena at first, which is just to put a bunch of strong teams. But I think in hindsight, I might not do that the same again. And I think if you are going to just put a team of 5-star heroes, go for the cheese, boys. Like, just Oberons or Starlight.
Yeah.
Just cheese
some good synergy heroes. Yeah, because now that I kind of look back at it too, I kind of had the same impression. I did the same thing where I put all my powerful teams first. But really, when you look at it, when I'm fighting a node, I don't actually care what the second half of teams' compositions are. Because I kind of accept that I'm not going to beat those teams, and I'm not going to try to. I'm going to try to beat the first half of the teams. Maybe a couple extra. Something like that. We're throwing like 1 to 2 E5 heroes in every single spot. There's a ton of mem cheeses out there. There's a lot of them. A lot of mem cheeses. So I'm thinking next week for preparation, which technically preparation will start tonight, I believe, with the new changes. We'll go over that here in a minute. But I feel like MK's on the right path where you might want to spread some of your E5s out. Maybe like put 3 or 4 per team with a couple extra fodder heroes. Something that can win, but it's not going to win against like a full lineup. But yeah. What about you, June?
Like, relatively the same. Like it did seem like everyone just defaulted to IDA, which I think is correct, right? You think, oh, I have multiple lineups. Why wouldn't I want to? We always get rewarded for going, building a hero to E5. Same strategy works for team building for most of the PvP. You want to build a really solid 6-man squad and just leave the leftovers. But I think something worth talking about, or mentioning at least, is the pets. On offense, all you need is 1 pet because you can keep reusing your pets. But on defense, you actually need a team of 5 or 6 Oberons with actually a strong pet could actually win you a lot of stuff on defense. Now, how much does that matter in the grand scheme of things? We don't really know. But I do feel that what MK says is probably right. You want to split out your teams. Maybe if you have 65s, go 2-2-2 all the way across. But if you have strong pets, you might want to kind of move them around a little bit, and that just says more to Mim Cheese. Mim Cheese is great because it's a budget build. It's really powerful, counters everything pretty much other than like Garudas. And the fact that you can use the ice pet, the apparition, at a very low cost for your chaos stones, which is usually the bottleneck for leveling up pets. It's usually not the soul, it's the chaos stones. That just shows that he just keeps getting better as I guess more PvP gets expanded. So yeah, I agree. Just Mim cheese, any type of cheese, Oberon cheese, Garudas, even at 9-star, 10-star are great. Those are kind of hard to come by, but Mims are always the flavor.
Yeah, and
use in PvP. So.
It does seem like a lot of people are splitting up their Mims, and since a lot of people have 2 to 3 Mims, I've actually noticed a lot of them were just putting 1 Mim in for a lineup so that they had more powerful Mim lineups to just take out. Like if you're just throwing in one hero like a Russell, the Russell might just die. And like you might not actually beat the Mim cheese with just 1 cheese. I mean, it's possible. So that is something I noticed is they were spreading the Mim cheeses out as well, which that kind of brought me to the idea, what MK was saying too, is spread out your team power as well. I mean, it doesn't hurt because I did see quite a few teams in there. I don't know if it was on purpose or it's just because they didn't have the heroes, but there were like some 3-hero, 4-hero lineups that I knew I couldn't beat with my 1 to 2 E5s that I was throwing in. So I think that's going to be, I think this week, or not, rather next week, this week's going to be the prep week, essentially. Next week is going to be interesting to see how people assign their teams on the prep day for defense. It'll be interesting. So one thing we should probably go over real quick then is the Guild War adjustments that are going to be going live today, it sounds like. This was actually posted on the official Twitter. So there's going to be a truce phase, a prep phase, and a battle phase. So now the truce phase is going to be the first day, which I think is going to be today, where it's literally you can't do anything. After that, the prep phase is going to be Tuesday to the following Monday. So you have a full 7 days essentially to set your whole team lineup up. So there's no excuses of somebody just missing it. Because I mean, before we weren't just going to have anything. So at least now they give you something to do. You can tweak your team, set your teams, gives your officials a lot more time to move people around, put them in different spots as well. And then, of course, the battle phase will be the next Tuesday to the following Sunday. So pretty much the same as what we just had right now. I think that's a better change for sure. Because I know, I mean, I kind of struggle with this because it's like, yeah, I guess some people didn't realize they had to sign up, but how are people not at least logging on once a day in this game? I mean, I feel like if you're not logging in once a day, minimum, you're just falling behind just by resources, gems. Like you're missing out on a lot of free resources. But I can understand the reason why, because there are people that just completely missed out on signing up, which caused some guilds to not even qualify. So I don't know if you guys had anybody in your guilds that actually missed the sign up at all. I know everybody did in ours, but
yeah, we had a handful in ours.
Yeah.
The one day was it 1 day or maybe 2 days at most, but that window's kind of rough. I think there's probably a better middle ground though. Feels like a week of prep is like kind of over the top. But like 3 days, like if you give a player 3 days, like if players are missing for 3 days out of your guild, that's usually for us. It's like, all right, let's try to find like a new recruit because this person is obviously not logging in. But a day, I understand. Like sometimes, like I see 1 day missing pretty often, right, in my guild. Then they come back. It's just like something happens in life or whatever. That's fine. And if that falls on the Monday where you have to sign up, that's just unfortunate. So giving a couple days leniency.
That's true.
But yeah, the 6 days. I mean, it's not the worst. But I think overall people are really enjoying it, so they wanted to play it more, right? We just got our like first look or first feel for it, and then like you learn a lot of new strategies. Or maybe you can change this, make you get more communication in the guild, etc. So people want to kind of play it more, but it's kind of unfortunate now you have to like prep for a whole week and then have to wait for the week to play out. But it's better than having half your guild, I guess. So
oh yeah, definitely. Did you have that at all, MK?
Well, I think that's we often have this psychological thing. Definitely, I did. I would always sign up for Guild Wars on the Friday because that's the last possible moment I could sign up for Guild Wars. And once your team's locked in for Guild Wars, you can't really change it.
Yeah.
So I always thought that if I go as late as possible, then I will have the most powerful team as physically possible. So if a new hero is coming out and I know I'm going to grab that new hero, then I'll have that whilst anyone who locked their team down before the new event hit. So there's some people that used to play it late like that.
Okay.
And I think they probably got stunk.
So essentially,
if they did know Guild Wars was getting updated,
so the way
didn't go, oi,
I'm just trying to think. So the method you were pretty much using was your guild didn't use you necessarily for the top 5 teams essentially to get the guaranteed wins. So you figured wait until the end of the week to have the most powerful lineup for the Guild Wars finals, then is what you were going for essentially. Okay, that makes sense. Because at first I was like, well, why would you wait till Friday? Then you're not helping the guild. But at the same time, if you're not in the top 5 guild or teams being used, it really doesn't matter because there's plenty of other people signing up to get you the guaranteed 15 heroes. That makes sense. I didn't really think about that because I never actually experienced that. That's a really good take on that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people could have missed it like you, yeah.
Like I'm 5th. I'm like 6th, 7th, 8th best. Right, we've got whales in our guild that I can't compete with.
Yeah.
And so like something like Rogan came out, and if I was going to buy him on the first day, then I've got a Rogan. They don't. Instant carry advantage. Yippee.
Yeah.
So there are small things like that where I think some people got themselves ingrained into that, so that suddenly
that makes sense.
Sunday night, Monday morning, they get a message going, "Oi, sign up for Guild Wars." They may just read it and ignore it, not knowing that.
Yeah, like I'll just do the normal.
Yeah,
because really, if that's the case, you wouldn't even open Guild Wars, would you? You wouldn't even touch it until the day you were ready to do it. You wouldn't even touch it and see, oh wait, this is different. So it just completely, you would have missed it essentially, just 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a really good take. I did not know people were doing that.
So it's fortunate that I'm kept in the loop.
Yeah.
I may have actually missed it.
Yeah, no, I know a lot of people were saying like, 3 or 4 people just completely missed out. And in this new Guild Wars, you really want as many people on your team as possible to generate points. Granted, if they aren't very strong, it's like it's a give and take because then they're also having weaker lineups, which is giving the other teams more points to fight back. So it's kind of a really interesting idea. I know I see GDP in chat. I know he was talking about getting like 10 of the biggest super whales there are on his server and just getting a guild with just 10 of them so that they have near impossible lineups to beat in every one of their spots. I was like, it could work out. That could be really good. But then you also have to consider the other 4 guilds that have crappy lineups. Those other teams are farming those. So it's kind of like a give and take. It'd be really interesting to see if he tries that out. But I mean, as far as the registration goes now, it does make it a lot easier on the officials too to make sure they separate and equalize the power out in all the locations as well. Because that's what we try to do. We try to put our strongest teams with our weakest ones in the same nodes and kind of work towards the middle that way. But I mean, prep phase, pretty simple now. You get a whole week to make sure you get your team set up. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. You shouldn't have anybody complaining at this point. If you're not doing it within a week, I mean, you're just hurting your guild. Like, what are you doing? But
you nearly said that.
Yeah.
It's
but then,
like, imagine the people that sign up half an hour before, and then the official's like, "Oh, great! Now I've got to reorganize things and fix it." You don't want that. So the week definitely helps. But then again, the problem is, right? If you know anything about people, you give them a timeline. They're all going to sign up at the latest possible moment anyway. So, screws to be guild officials.
Yeah. I mean, it does make it a lot easier on guild officials now because they don't have to sit there spinning the wheel over and over. I mean, I used to do it constantly. Just sit there. I'd spend literally 20 minutes spin the wheel because I'm looking for that one team within 10 ranks of me, just for that one team to hit. And the game just loves to make you spend 50 times to find that one team to just attack. And then guess what? You still have 4 more stamina. You got to do it 4 more times. And it's like, I literally just spent 30 minutes spinning my Guild Wars wheel, trying to find the teams I want to fight. And so at least it does kind of spread the responsibility out, because then there is the battle phase starting with day 2. Everybody is in the same tier. So you get some really interesting dynamics there. You get some people from server 1 and you got people from server like 860. Have fun if you're 860. So, I mean, I don't mind that initial setup phase where everybody's in the same tier. I feel like if they tried to group it by power, that would actually be less fair to the more mid-power teams in a way, because they would probably get matched up with more powerful teams. But what is your guys' take on the initial tier system where it's kind of just everybody just gets randomly assigned against other teams? It could be the best number 1 server versus like the brand new server, but hey, if that's how it comes out, it seems like that's the way it's going to happen.
Well, it's how most tournaments will go. I mean, sometimes you just like you draw the short straw. Like, imagine if you enter into a tournament and there you are, and you accidentally get seeded against the guy who ends up winning in round 1, so you're instantly going with a -1 into round 2 for the rest of the tournament.
Yep.
It's just the unluckiness that can happen. But I think when it comes to balance, I think it's fine. If you start like trying to categorize people and pair them, you're instantly putting a bunch of people that are technically equal forced to snap each other in half, where some stick, some go up, some go down. And then you end up, and then instantly round 2 is going to be a mess anyway.
Yeah.
Because then people are going to move back up, and you might just end up where people just keep going down, and
you just up and down between 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah, Premier League situation where you can't move because you're stuck. So like, same teams always get moved up a division, but then they get knocked down next season. You could just end up with that kind of thing. So I think it just naturally cleans itself out if you make it messy, and then it naturally sorts itself out, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Did you experience anything with that, June?
Yeah, like because like tournaments, like you just sign up. It's whether you get paired against someone that's equal skill or lesser skill or higher skill, there's always going to be a skill gap. Now, this game is weird in the sense that you have to build resources. So people that are going to be advantaged just because they've played for 2-3 years, that's just, I mean, they just decided to pick up the game a year before you. Like, to punish those players because you picked it up late or because you didn't spend enough money or whatever, or you weren't lucky enough, that's just part of any competitive situation. Like, you can't demote people. Like, all right, just forget the first 2 years of your training. Now play like, play worse. It's like, what? Come on, this is like, it's just a competition. So that's just the way it is. And it still works out. Like, some people were saying that to climb to the very top at the very beginning, just to keep winning, probably isn't the best. You probably want to give a day or maybe even 2 days to kind of be a little bit behind so you can climb up the ranks so you're in a different pool. So there's a lot of stuff that's still like that you could probably do and kind of work with. And if people are just getting lazy, there's something to this game that whether a person spends more than you can actually, there's still wiggle room to out strategize. So if they're just putting level 1s up, like they're lazy for their team 3, 4, and 5, and the defenses are weaker, you can use stronger teams, cheese teams, and strategize against that. So I don't think it's a complete loss, even for the quote unquote disadvantaged player that may be on a newer server like 800s, but it does suck. I mean, 1E5 or like 2-3 E5s facing a full E5, it's not fun. Clearly that's not fun, right? But that just happens with, we have a lot of servers, there's a lot of players, it's just gonna happen. It's part of the game, I think.
Yeah, I think that happened on our royalty meme team, one of the newer servers. We literally just went from I think 1 to 2, then 2 to 1, then 1 to 2, and then 2 to 1. And I think we actually ended on 1 just because we were so weak, and we would get like, oh yeah, we finally got teams we match up with. But then we bump up to 2, and it's like, oh wow, we're already completely out of our league. I mean, it does kind of make it a little worse for newer servers to generate guild coins, I think. I'm going to have to really do the math on it to see exactly what it is, since it's only bi-weekly now and it's not weekly like the old system was. I mean, stronger teams I think will be much better off on guild coins. The stronger guilds, because if you win, you get what, 13,000? So it's 26,000 a month. I think that's quite a bit more. What were we getting? If you got like first place in Guild Wars previously, was that like 4 to 5,000 a week?
A week.
Somewhere in that range.
That, I think. Yeah,
so I mean, it's definitely more. I don't know if GDP remembers off the top of his head, but if you get very high, 4 or 5, I think you got really good rewards with the new system. Plus, of course, the frames. But the one thing I did want to talk about is that day 1 to day 2 transition. It does seem kind of weird that the teams you progress with are the ones from your first bracket as well. Did you guys have that happen to you as well? We had the other 2 teams that ranked up to 2 stayed with us. Once we went from 2 to 3, the teams stayed with us. So we kept fighting the 2 stronger teams. Luckily, we kept getting second place, but we stuck with one team the whole way that would always come in first, essentially. And we could not shake that team. And it ultimately kind of screwed us in the end. But I mean, I feel like it should just be completely random teams assigned on the second day. And so on and so forth. You should not be stuck into a bracket, an invisible bracket, so to speak, is what it feels like. Because, I mean, that just, the second I saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then the third day came, I was like, oh, well, this kind of sucks. Because if you get matched up with a powerful team, you're going to be in that team's bracket, essentially. So, did that happen to you guys as well?
I believe so, yeah. I think there was one team, but we ended, I don't remember the name of it, but not the highest tier, but I believe the second. That's where we ended on the last day. But we climbed 3 days, and I think we dropped once or twice, maybe twice, and then we climbed on the last day again. Or
Yeah.
maybe I missed something. Climbed twice, dropped twice, and then climbed once. But yeah, there's definitely that. It's weird having that, but at the same time, you would like it's weird. Like you want to have it random, but at the same time, how would that play out when you're climbing and then you get matched up with another guild that's maybe on a very newer server and you're climbing together? So you're like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how that would play out. It's both sides seem kind of weird. I mean, it's just probably it's hard to try to design, I think, a tournament system when there is so much inequality on the servers. I don't know how you make that.
I'm intrigued to think, kind of like what GDP was saying. To me, it almost feels like it's kind of like the IDA, where you're not against everybody technically. You just get grouped into brackets, and then within brackets you fight. But the weird part is with Guild Wars, because there's no like leaderboard or overall board that you can see, you're in this hidden group. At least in IDA, when you go on the first day, you can literally scan through. It's like, oh great, I got GDP in my tier, or I got, one of these other big whales out there. It's like, well, I know I'm not going to win, but maybe I can get further, something like that. This one, it just feels really, really weird. And I do think there's going to be a lot more strategy in the earlier days starting soon. Because like for us, for example, we literally won every single day, and it put us up to level 5 on the very last day. And there's no way we were going to compete and keep our tier 5 on the last day, because we were up against 2 of the strongest server 1 guilds there are, plus like a server 8 and like an 8 and a 13. Like we were at server 47, we were by far the newest server, like not even close in competition. So we got crazy high number of points, but we still came in dead last in 5th. Felt really bad. So I'm thinking the new way people might game the system is try to lose a day or preserve a day at like tier 4, and then spend that last day advancing to tier 5. So I don't know, how did your guild do, MK? Did you guys go straight up to tier 5 and hold it, or?
We steady progressed.
Yeah.
We were like moved up. I think we started did you start at the bottom? Everyone starts at the bottom, right? Or did you start at a random tier?
No, tier 1, everybody.
Yeah. So we just kept on moving up. We were always first or second. And we stuck it out. And then we got to tier 5. We ended up, I think, 3rd. And I think to mention with the bracket thing, the way I think it is, we won't know unless we ask. But my prediction would be that it is like IDA, that they just get a group of guilds and chuck them in together and go, right, you're all competing.
Yep.
And if there's 5 every tier, so is it like 25 guilds all together and you have to all compete? That would make sense, I think, unless I might be wrong there. But either way, they get a bunch of guilds, they all fight each other. And I think that gives lower guilds the opportunity to actually get to these higher tiers. Because if you put every single guild together and then did it where it randomly pools out, you could end up with all the best server 1, server 2, and server 3s all just holding the top. And your 42 guild wouldn't even survive against my server 22 guild. You'd be like tier 3, tier 4.
Yeah.
And so I think actually by just forcing it into a bracket, you actually may have a better advantage of getting to the higher ends, because you only have to compete with such a small number. And you got to remember, yes, there are guys ahead of you, but there's plenty more guilds behind you on the server list.
Definitely. Though I do feel like I wish they would change the demotion at tier 5. I kind of wish I'd like to see it where 3 preserve and 2 get demoted instead of 2 stay and 3 get demoted. I feel like that's very punishing to be in tier 5 on the last day. It makes it ridiculously hard to keep it. Whereas people in tier 4 on the last day have a much easier time of getting tier 5 at the end. It's kind of weird, because I honestly think this week what we're going to do is we're going to try to preserve at tier like 3 or 4, one of those two. Just try to tank some points. Don't actually even do some fights. Just wait to the very last second, try to preserve at a tier so that we're at tier 4 on the last day to promote to tier 5. Because it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to go up that way than it is to hold it. I mean, but then again, I guess it really depends on your group, because I know there were 2 other guilds on our server that were decently weaker than us. We are pretty much the whaliest guild on our server by a decent amount. They managed to actually get their tier 5 borders this week. Both of them did. because they were at tier 5 on the last day, but they were the most powerful team somehow in their bracket. They somehow did not get matched up with any. They were the most powerful oldest server at 47, which was really, really interesting. Like a lot of it, I guess, is still going to come down to RNG that you can't really foresee. But I mean, that's just, I guess the one thing I kind of struggle with something like this is, do lower power guilds deserve to get the highest rank? Does everybody deserve a chance with some RNG to get the first rank? Or should just the most powerful people actually take the top spot like in a real tournament would be? What do you guys take on something? How do you guys view this new system?
I think it's fine. It really does come down to, because like I think it's hard though, because as a designer, you're working with such a bizarre system. The system is like, because there's money involved, there's the time you invested involved, so there's those two factors working against you. But then trying to create something where everyone's involved, I think they hit the nail on the head on this one. That you can get involved. It felt like our guild was talking so much more on Discord. I don't know if you guys experienced that, or even in game. Like there was a lot of mails going out. I got so many pings from, because I manage multiple accounts, right? So I got so many pings from like the Discords about that. Usually there's nothing really going on because it's just like it's auto, like, you know, just autopilot. You just submit the squad on Monday and they'll take care of it. The guild coins come in, right? But it was so involved. People were talking about strategies. Like I did this, I did that. Did that work? Yo, that cavern there is really good. We should attack that one. And we put the stats on that one. Like it was involved, which is, I think, a huge win, right? One of my biggest complaints about this game was that it didn't feel like the guild was anything. Like it's literally like a place to farm guild points. And after a certain point, it doesn't matter. Like you kill the guild bosses, and after that, it's like everyone kind of just goes in their own and just does their little flame shrine bosses, and it's not even that involved. Like there's no real sense of like camaraderie or coming together, strategizing. So I think they did really good there. But to get that to kind of get shut down, I guess, for newer guilds that get to experience this like brand new, like pretty fresh in their idle journey is kind of rough, because it can feel like it's an insurmountable kind of challenge that you can't really compete. But at the same time, I think overall, when you look at the big picture, getting guilds to really come together and have a conversation, most likely on Discord because the in-game messaging is pretty bad. I think that's a huge win, right? Like that's just a massive, there's so much communication going on. People are just saying, we're going to need to communicate. Like either people have to start taking over other guildies accounts just so they like do proper attacks, or we really got to talk about how we can get like these wins, right? Like you really, and every day you're watching like, oh, did people attack? Like how many more points can we farm? Like, oh, we're in third, we need to move up. Like there's like a lot of those conversations going around. So I think that's really healthy for the game. But about the balancing, I think it's just gonna be a struggle, but I think they're going to keep working on it, right? Because the devs are looking for feedback. I think they're asking in the Discord as well, like how could we make it better? So it's still, I don't think it's concrete. It's not set in stone. So
yeah, it's difficult. I think it's like, in my mind, I think it would be nice if everyone had the chance to get the top border, because once you've got it once, you don't need to get it again.
Need to get there again,
as long as you have one, you keep upgrading it. And I think actually, I don't know if we're going to get to the top tier again, because I think a lot of people blundered this week. A lot of guilds, as you said, people didn't show up.
It's gonna be a lot more strategy.
Doing. In our guild, we were just on it. We were top, and I'm looking at the scores people again, like, wow, man, we're smashing this. And okay, sure, we've got like 2 whales in the guild as well, like, and we've been around long enough that we've all got at least 2.5 lineups of E5s. So okay, we've got an advantage, but against some of these server 1 teams, it's hard to match that. And I think from a game design perspective, like if I think what you're suggesting is maybe if they put every single guild in together and just let that sort itself out.
Yeah.
Or are you suggesting they try and predict how powerful guilds are? And because it's really hard to judge how powerful the guild is.
I kind of agree with you that without, and see, this is kind of intertwines. I don't know if you've seen much about the Trial of Champion updates that are going to be coming out too, where Trial of Champion, you're going to be bracketed by your level now. So it could be interesting doing something similar in Guild Wars, but based off your guild level? I don't know.
That's tough, though.
That's really tough, though, because then you're going to have these really weak guilds that have a border before some of the more powerful guilds, which feels weird. I don't know.
Yeah, but then again, guild levels just gonna put you with people that are close servers and similar age to your guild. It's
pretty much like the old system. Yeah, that's true. And it does seem like they're trying to get away from those server bracket type game modes. This was pretty much the last one. Trial of Champions is going to be the last one that is a server grouping. Everything is essentially becoming everything wide. I mean, Brave Trial went that way. We got IDA now doing that. Trial of Champions is going to be doing that. Guild Wars now is like that, where you're no longer fighting within your own 10 server group. Because, I mean, it was an old system that didn't work well in Guild Wars, because if you did start anywhere after the number 5 server, you were essentially not going to be able to catch up. That was months of time that you missed, and at this point in this game, that's like a whole E5 hero that you're almost missing out on. Compared to the people who started on server XX1 and you're on XX7, you're really never going to have a chance to compete. Where at least in this new system, you can get some RNG luck and actually get there. Whereas before, if you were the strongest team, you were always getting first place and you were always going to win the Guild Wars finals. Like it was pretty much guaranteed income. Whereas now there is some RNG in it, but then like GDP said too, you're going to lose out on that server notoriety. You're not even going to know who the other guilds are at this point, except for the ones directly on your server that you fight every day in Crystal Crown. There's going to be no more rivalries or, oh, this is this guild that we're going up against. I guess Free Team Arena is still going to be the one last spot, huh?
They might rehaul that too, though. It seems like they're doing a lot of work.
It might change that.
Again, they're merging everything and making everything accessible. So, who knows? Because even like weren't they talking about the friends list, like having inter-server friend lists as well? It just seems like it's something that people kind of probably complain about a lot. To be honest, in-game support. Like, I want my buddy to play, but like we're not even on the same server, and then there's no like he's gonna join and it's gonna be all messed up. Like, it's just having intercommunication within the game is probably just good overall. But yeah, it does take away a little bit from the uniqueness of every guild if it's just like just a pool of like thousands of guilds.
It's nice.
Can't have it all.
You know, well, I can kind of honestly, I can see them as using this as a way to not have to remerge low number servers a second or third time as well. Because at this point, really, it's just going to be Crystal Crown Arena that you're really just fighting against. I guess FTA as well, but it does make it feel like the game is more populated as well, I think. Because, I mean, like I said, Guild Wars was that pretty much just that boring autopilot mode, like MK said, where you log in, you put your team in, your officials do it, and oh, hey, look, I got first again. We're the Whale Guild, we get it. No competition, don't have to worry about a thing. It's just random anyway at the end, so we're kind of good to go. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of merging everything together, but it does kind of take down the community aspect a little bit. But there really wasn't much anyway. I mean, usually general chats are pretty empty. Even guild chats are pretty empty, depending on your guild.
The game community it's way bigger than just server stuff now. You look at the stuff we've managed to achieve as a whole community over the last 6 months. Like, we don't need server-wide community. We've got Reddit, we've got Discords, we've got
pretty much
Facebook groups,
Discord mainly.
Like, we don't need, if people want community, that's what we're doing right here. Like,
and then you got people like McShots was saying, the issue is if you're the best guild on your server, you shouldn't be tying or doing worse than other servers in your guild technically. But now you could. I mean, there's an RNG factor with matchups thrown in. Plus, okay, here's one thing we should really, really, really talk about. And that is some quality of life changes potentially with gear, unequipping gear, and the gear swapping. I know, MK, you said you really didn't bother with it too much. You didn't have to, but I'm sure June did it, and I know I did it. I made a whole video of me doing it with all my 60 characters. Every single fight, unequipping your heroes, re-equipping them on the ones you want, remembering the ones you wanted on to then pick the correct ones, and then setting your lineup and attacking with your most powerful pet is tiring. I think it literally took me like half an hour to optimally do it on stream the other day. What did you experience that, June? Did you actually do that as well?
Yes, I did it for, the first day I didn't do it. but the second day I started doing it for the main guild that I'm a part of, and well, there's 2 main guilds that I'm really involved in, and the other ones I'm maintaining. So I literally did not have enough time between streaming, and it's just like you can't do that. I can't do it for this like 5 accounts that I had for the Guild Wars, but okay, I can do 2. The other ones I'm gonna focus and attack properly, but I'm not gonna be able to de-gear and then ungear and then put them on my like 5 stars and you know, like the whole leveling thing too. They need to increase. It needs to be 1 touch, just like cap it, get it to level whatever. Like maybe you can set it. You can. I want to take it to level 80, take my resources out, or it just jumps by 10 or whatever those breakpoints are. That
like
needs to happen.
Once you start holding it down,
de-gearing and gearing.
Like,
exactly. Like just 1 touch to get the max gear on or the artifact, whatever it may be. The pet's fine because you use the same pet pretty much for all your fights, but it's just a hero. It needs to be like they can work the UI. I saw a couple great posts on Reddit already, and I know the community managers they're looking at that stuff. So I hope they take it to the devs. But it can be made very like streamlined on the Guild War page. It needs to reside there. If the devs' goal is to get like interaction and community building and a lot of communication going because of Guild Wars, they need to facilitate players to stay on that screen. Like keep players on that screen. Don't get them to how to hit escape twice or hit the back arrow. Go into the thing, like keep stupid hitting that arrow and then ungear. Like that is not a good play pattern, and that is not going to entice people to do it for 5 days of the week, 6 days of the week. People are gonna burn out so fast, and then what that's gonna do as a result is actually guilds are gonna fall apart because there's always gonna be people that want to keep climbing, and the people now it's on everyone. The onus is on everyone to bring your proper heroes and contribute so the guild can grow. And if there's people that get burnt out and like I just don't want to do it, like after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm 3 months of this, I'm just de-gearing and gearing, I'm just burnt out. It's people don't do PvE because of that, and that stuff happens. Like Aspen is like once every 4 days, right? And they don't do that. Like Flame Shrine, like MK is just like I'm not doing that, and it's like it's a perfect example. And then people are gonna burn out, but like we're not getting like his guild is not getting penalized because he didn't hit. Like he's just losing a little bit of guild coins. It's like nothing off the top, right? But if it's Guild Wars, I feel that it's gonna end up being pretty toxic. Like a lot of guilds can fall apart because they'll just start pointing people out. Like you didn't get any points. Like look, you're at the bottom of the leaderboard. We can all see that, and you're not gearing properly. And it's like, well, I don't have 20 minutes every day or 30 minutes every day to keep just doing this monotonous thing of ungearing and gearing. It's just it's crazy, right? So I think that the devs really have to address that. It's fine now because everyone's like, it's new stuff, it's exciting, right? But it'll wear on people fast, I feel.
Well,
I can't do that for 5
I think the big thing is if I was a 1 account, 1 server player, I would actually love a lot of these changes that are actually giving me more to do in the game because, I mean, it's this funny thing because everybody's sitting there complaining there's not enough to do, there's not enough game modes to play. And then the second they give it to you, why do I have to do all this stuff? I'm like, is this just 2 different crowds kind of being the loudest voice?
Switching gear isn't gameplay, dude.
I mean, you don't have to. You don't do it. You don't have to do it, but you got to do Guild Wars. I mean, like I said, if I only had 1 server, I would absolutely love this new feature. I have 3 servers. I still do it. It's not as fun on the second 2. The first one I enjoyed on. The other 2 are kind of more like an autopilot type mode where it's like, I just throw some heroes and hit. Get some points because we're not going to win anyway. We're not powerful enough to win. So it's like, it feels that way. But if I had multiple, oh man, could you guys imagine Soul trying to manage all those accounts?
Or Reb.
Reb.
Reb and Soul are probably just,
yeah, I mean, so here's the question to you guys, because what we've had to do over the years is to get the maximum enjoyment and the amount of gameplay that we want out of this game. Let's be honest, a lot of us have multiple accounts, or at least multiple servers that they play on to fill the time. I mean, we're kind of invested in those secondary accounts now, which is the sucky part, but would you rather just spend all your time on your 1 account doing many different game modes to keep you busy? Or is it too late for that?
You know what it all comes back to, dude? It all comes back to, and I don't want this to be a self-plug, but it does. It all comes back to what kind of player are you? And I think, like, it's something I spoke about a while ago. And for me, right, depends on the game. Some games, I'm a total min-maxer. I want to optimize the crap out of that. PvP, that's the way I think. But that's because I get pleasure out of beating people. That's satisfying. And you can watch the 1v1 action of PvP. That gives me the sadistic pleasure that I need, which is crushing someone else's dreams. But if you look at it from some people get their pleasure from getting as high as possible on Aspen Dungeon, like this guy down here. And other people get their pleasure from just being the most powerful. Like that used to be the main driving factor for me wanting to be a whale, right? When I started playing, I spent thousands because I was like, I want that number one spot. Yeah. And number one mattered more to me than how powerful I was. And I think the thing is, you will probably end up in a guild with some people that are like, I'm going to min-max the crap out of this. I'm going to switch all my gear. But then, as you said earlier, not everyone's going to pull their weight. Not everyone's going to want to do that because that's not where they derive their fun from. And it could end up with a really interesting dichotomy where you get a lot of people yelling at each other on the internet because one person's going, well, you have to switch all your gear because if you don't, you're not going to get the most points. And then you get the guy going, yeah, but half an hour of my day to do that, that's not fun. That doesn't sound like entertainment or excitement. I value that half an hour. And it ends up with a whole argument of people with different psyches that are never going to agree because people get their pleasure from different places. Yeah. And I find it personally entertaining. Just because you asked the question, what's the most optimal thing? The most optimal thing is to switch your gear around. But if you want to time manage and you're bothered about spending too much time on the game, then maybe that's not the most optimal thing. And it's so funny because, everyone plays the game differently. Like you look at people who've got an entire team of E5 honor guards because that brings them pleasure because it's funny. And they just throw their E5 honor guards and they're like, look at me win. So it's just a funny one, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's also
PC saying it takes more than 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't know, guys. That's where I get my fun.
I mean, it took me. I think even on stream while talking to chat, it only took me like 20 minutes or so. I think that's what it took me to do my whole Guild Wars on day 5 with all the teams and everything. I think it took about 20 minutes, and that was me trying to talk to chat. So it's not. I guess it just depends on your speed as well. But it kind of comes down to the thing I always used to post to people on Reddit is, especially people say they're not enough to do or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's an idle game. Don't try to make it anything more than an idle game. Don't try to make it your main game you're playing. Otherwise, you're not going to enjoy it. But if they keep adding some things in there, I mean, you might have to spend an hour a day on the game. Is that a bad thing? I mean, an hour's not a lot. But is it a lot for an idle game? And that's where they're going to have to play that line, like kind of toe that line and figure out what people are willing or wanting to do versus I just give up. I'm not doing this. Because like you were saying too, it's going to create some toxicity within guilds. I know we're trying to replace 2 to 3 people in our guild because they barely did any attacks this week. And yet they were some of our most powerful people throughout the history of the guild. But guess what? If you're not going to attack, you're not helping the guild. And especially when they jump on for the day, you see that they logged on, and then you see they have no individual points for the day. It's like you couldn't just jump in there and just smash it with any old heroes. I mean, you'll at least get some points, But when there's a big old fat goose egg on there, it's like, are we keeping this person? Are we gonna try to see if they will cooperate, or are we just, especially the big whale guilds? I mean, I know a lot of people in my guild even, it's like, we're here to win. Like, we're here to be the best. That's why we whaled. If you are not going to participate and help, you will just find a different whale to replace you. There's plenty of them. We'll find someone else, even that's slightly weaker, that will still help the guild more. And that's the big thing. It doesn't really come down to your power level necessarily. I mean, you could have like 5 less E5 heroes, but if you're attacking and you're gear swapping, you're more worthwhile to a guild. So it's like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because like you said, our guild Discord, our guild chat in-game, our guild mail, like the officers sending out mails to try to teach people tips and how to do it. And like, I've never seen our guild this active since. Actually, it's probably more active than even when we had our server merger, preparing to merge 3 different powerhouse guilds together. We have more conversation going on now than we did at that point. And I thought that was a lot of conversations. So
I think that's healthy. It really is healthy. And I mean, engagement is always good, but there's always gonna be a trade-off. There's no one like answer fits all. And I think, yeah, but what MK was saying, I'll echo that. Just the enjoyment factor. People enjoy for different things. And maybe, you know, guilds falling apart is fine. You'll find like-minded people, right?
Yeah.
People that are casually competitive, hyper competitive, that are like budget spenders, and they could create their own guilds. Hopefully they can find a home, right? And that's why I think Discord, Facebook, like Reddit, all those are great communities. So you can find other players that are like-minded. And if they do, you know, if you can find, it's hard to find server mates on those platforms, right? It's just like people that love the game.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I think it can end up being good as well. But the content, it's like, it's a struggle. Like looking at it, I have that same perspective as well. That Barry's thing is that you got to see it for what it is, not just like just in life in general. You can't expect this crazy game out of an idle, like the little title is Idle Heroes, but it can draw you in because it really is a good game. It has like super addictive things going on, and if you actually break down the numbers and there's a lot of like meta stuff going on, you think, oh, there's a lot of meat to this game. You can really sink your teeth into this game. There's a lot of strategy. There's like a lot of luck, bad luck, and good luck, and all that stuff. So you end up kind of, your mind says like, no, there's a game here, but then you go like, but I can't play it when I want to play it. I got to play it on its own terms, like when the timers run out, like gotta wait for reset. So it puts you in this really weird situation because I'd never played a mobile game before this, like nothing like this, and everything was time-based. So I really had to like reconfigure how I felt about playing a game like this, and you naturally just go to a second account because you're like, all right, cool, I can juggle 2 accounts now, right? I'll have like double the content, and then I can just play like, you know, 30 minutes a day or 40 minutes a day, whatever it may be. But it really is your expectations, I think.
Yeah, but now
as you're enjoying it, I think we all agree.
Yeah, it can be counterproductive now adding all these game modes because now you're invested in these accounts. Monetarily invested as well, where you just don't want to say, if there's enough content, I'm only going to play my main account. It's like, well, but I spent some money on those other accounts too. So, no, thank you. And like, it's kind of, it goes back to the previous game, or one of the ones that I kind of played the most was, I don't know if you guys ever played it, but CSR 2 Racing. It was a very, very time consuming, monotonous game that you had to do stuff every day for at least a couple hours, like PvP racing and stuff. And it got to the point where, like, for me, it was no longer a phone game. It was like, it was trying to push into that territory of, here's a full-fledged game that I need to actually spend time on. I need to wait till I get all my energy back and literally do it over and over again so I don't have to spend money. And it got to the point where I was just like, this is not fun anymore. It's a job. So that's where I'm like, I really don't want that to happen to Idle Heroes with the new Guild Wars system. I feel like it's not going to, but I guess it just comes down to like MK always says it. Are you gonna min-max? Is that how you get your pleasure out of the game? Are you enjoying it by min-maxing? Can you enjoy it by just doing half min-maxing, like not going all in on it and just, all right, this is what I can do. I accept this. My guild accepts this. I'm happy. So I don't know,
because the game gets a lot of hate from people that are so used to playing games and then being 100% skill-based, when you have to be honest to yourself and say, well, Idle Heroes does have paywalls, and if you don't spend this much, you're not going to progress as quickly, blah, blah, blah. That's their business model, right? The business model is the timers. It's for you to go, these timers take too long, I can't get resources quick enough, or I'll just buy 60 million gold for this much money, and then suddenly you've got, you've got that gold that you could have waited days for, but instead you had to itch and buy. I don't know about you guys, but when I started, that hooked me. I was just buying spirit packages. Spirit.
I was like, I could just finish leveling my hero. Especially when you're not to the point where campaign's slowing you down. When you're at the like, oh no, I can keep going, but my hero's not strong enough. So I just want to give him that extra like 5 levels, and I get 5 to 6 more campaign levels. And then of course there's that huge drop off after you hit a wall and you hit the level wall and stuff. But like in the beginning, it really does grab you, where it's like it's just a few more resources and you can keep progressing. But well, I mean, McShots kind of put it perfect in chat. Agree, everyone enjoys differently. I mean, we've got a meme teamer, a free to play adventurer, and an Aspen dungeon god talking right now. Like all 3 of us literally enjoy this game very, very differently. You have to admit that. I hate building like absolute meta teams. I like trying to build some sort of meme that I can have these upset wins with and stuff and find these cool interactions. June really is the first person that we've ever seen that takes a giant part of the game and dives into it and actually breaks it down to figure out who can beat it, how to do it. It's literally like a chess match with some RNG thrown in there, like throw a little trap in once in a while. But it's like it's such a cool mode. I just wish Aspen Dungeon came around more often, because it is fun when you have multiple accounts that it's like almost every day you can do it. But if you have one account, it's like, okay, I did my Aspen Dungeon, now I gotta wait, what, 4 or 5 days essentially? It's like, oh, I want to do it every day. And that's where it also breeds the, well, I'll just have multiple accounts and then I can do that stuff every day. But yeah, it's just interesting. And then you get like MK, he's actually, it seems like you're really enjoying that free-to-play account you're starting up and doing that whole walkthrough. No? You just want to spend a little bit of money? Just a little bit?
Yep.
So like VIP3 is fine, right?
And the wishing coin says, you can't do 8 coins is 10 spins until you're level 80. Yep. And I'm like, I don't want to be level 80 already.
and then you can't claim the extra heroes from the wishing, or not the wishing fountain, the summoning fountain. You can't get those guys. Yeah. Maybe you should have made it VIP3.
When he solved all my problems mindset, that the moment I remove that, it's like, but I know I can just buy this, and then I have this. That it's good value for my happiness, because I don't have to wait a month. I don't like waiting.
But
that's because
But MK, that's how it starts. You're like, well, I'll just do VIP3 right now. That's not much, because then I can get the wheel spins and everything. It's like, but look at that package. Now that I'm level 75, they're offering me like this fearless armor package. That's like a really good deal for like $20. I'll just get that one. And then all of a sudden you're at VIP5 and you're like, well, shit. If I just get up to like VIP7, I'll just go all in on this one event. I'll get all the hero copies I need, and then I'll have enough copies to get them to like E3, E5, and then it's just a cycle.
Yep.
And it's like, but just this little bit more, and it's the last time. I'm just gonna do this. It's good. It's too good of a value as far as DH Games value, and then it's a cycle.
I think like what Funky Lizard said there, like a VIP3 server, like if I was gonna do a series, like, and maybe you'd be interested once you get through that gauntlet of free to play. I don't know how long that's gonna take you, MK, but a monthly card account would be sick. That's something that I would commit to. So like all you do is like the first month, you just buy monthly cards every month. I think that's like reasonable. Like people can spend like, what is it, like $10 US or 15, and that's all you buy. You don't buy packs. You just get gem income. So then you can buy like Steel Hand Smashes. You can do like the Imps Adventure. You'll slowly grow in VIP. So over the course of a year, you'll have X amount of whatever, and everyone's going at the same pace, right? It's like that would be like for me, because when I like played my main account and then it got to the point where I was like, I just want a bit more content. Me and my guildie said, all right, let's raid a server all together. Whoever wants to join, we'll do it. We'll start a brand new account with the knowledge that we have. And then we started with the rule, we won't go over VIP 3. So that was like a junior card, I think a carnival card, and maybe like the senior card. And there's 3 cards and it gets you to like VIP 3. And then I went completely free to play. But just to get the bag space, to open up the casino, right? But taking that a step further, just buying monthly cards. I'm often tempted to be like, maybe I'll just start buying monthly cards on an account, because you just get a nice influx of gems, and it just gives you enough to start doing things. And you're not like so bottleneck, because going from like anywhere from a VIP 4 to let's say a VIP 10, like if you're in that range, if you're spending on this game, you've been playing it for a couple of years, you're probably in that range. And then dropping to free to play, you're just like, wow, this is like a huge like gap between what you're able to do, and you just feel so limited. Like everything's just it's just like the grind isn't even the right word. I'm just like, I often say like, if you're not playing VIP 3, it's like torture. Like for me, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do like, I have to buy VIP 3 and then I'll go free to play. That I'm fine. But it's like, I need to unlock like at least
get certain things unlocked. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah.
I don't know. Definitely.
Bag space.
Yeah, bag space. Hopefully there's a fix coming for that. Some tweaking maybe. Maybe give low VIP some better bag space. I mean, they did add the one thing in Celestial Island to get more bag space, but it's just way too overcosted. Like 2,000 for one bag space. Just it's not. It needs to be like 200. Honestly, it really does.
It was like, I think it works out to like about 5 bag space a month, which is, I mean, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. Hopefully they'll keep. It does seem like though they are willing to make a lot of tweaks to the game modes that they're putting out. I mean, they're already changing up the way the schedule goes. Maybe they'll add more features. I know a lot of people have been asking for an unequip all at the top of your bag or your hero bag to just literally, because then sometimes, you know how many times I'm sitting there like, I know I have another magic source. What level 1 5-star hero is it on? Was I doing it on a Dark Spirit? No. Was it Amun Ra? No, it wasn't that. Was it a Lutz for Tower? I don't know. I know it's there somewhere, but I'm not going to go through 500 heroes trying to figure out where the hell this one item is. And it's like, that would help so much for Guild Wars 2. Just a button, boop, right there. Unequip all heroes. Go to the heroes you want. Equip. Just rinse and repeat over and over. Take a lot of the legwork out of it. Probably a third of the time, something like that. I think it would.
I do like it though. Like Guild War being introduced though, I think it shows that, like, again, the game is still growing. The devs are still willing to invest resources, time, and now even listen to feedback. And it's like it's just like that ripple effect. Like they put it out there. They weren't planning like guilds are gonna start getting together, strategizing. There's gonna be Reddit posts. There's gonna be all these like graphs being made. Like you want a tank in the middle so you can climb. Like all this stuff is happening, and it's like I think that's really great.
Yeah, that flow chart is awesome.
Like yeah, it's like it's still like they're still willing to like put energy into the game. And now that the community like sees that, like I think a lot more people are coming online and just saying like, yo, listen to my opinion, I think got ideas. And if they take any of those back to the devs, I think it's just it's a great cycle that they're starting. So I mean, we can only hope for the best, because it feels like when you look at what they're doing, like they can say like, yeah, it's coming soon, and that used to be like the old DH. I feel like, when's this coming? It's
8
coming
months,
soon.
9
Like,
months
they still
later.
say that. Yeah, but they're actually looking. If you look at the behavior and what they're implementing, yeah, like that's like a meme, but it's actually like, if you look at what's changing over, I think it's all upside. So it's good. It's nice to see that they're listening to us.
Hold on, I don't mean to derail, but I just got this pop up that says, "Congratulations, you've just unlocked access to the exclusive Twitch partner program."
Yo, are you for real? Yo, congrats, man. Yes.
Okay. Yes! I'll have to see what that does for us later. All right. Didn't mean to derail there, but the one thing I did want to say before that is I know a lot of people complain about the cost entry to really compete in this game and everything, but as far as DH value goes, a lot of the stuff lately has become a lot more valuable for the dollar that you invest into it. I mean, just look at the pack we got this week. I mean, that was a pretty ridiculously cost-effective pack right there. It's skin in it, everything. And it was, I mean, the skin alone, you used to spend what, $70 for a new skin, right? On Wishing Fountain Weeks? Like, I think that's what it was. And I'm like, geez, the value there is just crazy. Plus the gold, the profit orbs, the universal crystals that everybody's been wanting. I've been begging the community managers for them to put more universal crystal shards. I mean, there's no way it beats the one that was like, what, 1,000 crystals at one time. But I mean, the more of them you get, the better, because that just means more artifacts. We need more artifacts. And I guess the last thing we should touch on, you guys wanted to talk about our Magic Stone Sword and Augustus Magic Ball in Ormus, the upgrades. So they kind of even have more value now, because when you are attacking in Guild Wars, you only need your 6 artifacts. Like, it's all you need. If you have that Splendid Augustus Magic Ball, the value of that just shot up, because you can use that in every single fight you do at all 10 locations. So, June, I know you had a lot of experience, at least with Augustus Magic Ball this past week or two. I don't know, did you build Magic Stone Sword at all?
No, I did not. I don't have access to it, and from what I was just the general vibe of the community on Discord, at least, didn't feel like it was the one that was the one to go for. Maybe again, all these artifacts have so much shelf life when you get them to tier 3, so maybe in the future. But I went immediately for the A and B, because I had just enough lying around, and it's not because I've picked up a couple of receptors. It was like, all right, I can just toss those on the speed heroes, and I could try to test out the Splendid. On the friends list, I haven't tested it too much in the real arena, but I've been smashing on the friends list, and even the level 1, so the glittery A and B is just gross. Like even the 1, but when you get it to 3, it's like your hero, it transforms a lot of heroes, like Balrain,
It's like a wall.
Ada, like GDP was telling me. Yeah, it's just like an attack tuned Ada. Like, what are we doing here? It's like attack speed, attack Adas, and they're just not taking any damage. Like, I feel bad for I tested a lot against Russ as well. Yeah. If you can get in a situation where your Bell Rain starts getting tapped by the Russ arrows, it's like, it just feels like, what just happened for Anniversary? Like, what did this artifact just do? It's just like this upheaval of like the meta. Like, I mean, it's I mean, other heroes can drop in, in HP, so the arrows will switch. But there's some situations.
Yeah. I had the exact situation. I had the glittery Augustus Magic Ball now on my 1 Bell Rain in slot 2. I think I put her in. But yeah, like if there's a Russell on the enemy team, it's almost guaranteed, unless like Carry almost kills someone with a mark, which can happen. Like you said, it can get around that hero, but eventually you got to come back to that hero. You just got to hope you have a hero that's not a Garuda or a Russell to try to kill it. I mean, I think you even had experiences this week with the Augustus Magic Ball, right, MK? Did you get a chance to use it?
Yeah, I've got one.
That's what I thought.
It's huh?
Not.
Oh, but yeah, no, I'm loving it, man. It's what I love most about it, and this is gonna sound a little bit messed up, because I mean, look, what the biggest hero I think to ever hit the meta that wasn't a light or dark was probably, if we don't include Sherlock, Valkyrie, right? Valkyrie was so good that she got nerfed immediately. And what made Valkyrie was so strong is HP was her attack stat. We now have an artifact where attack is your defensive stat. So it just means you just go all in punching bag, like, and then just be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is making me unkillable at the same time. Whoops. Like, it's just so clever. It's so clever. It's also degenerate, but it's nice. It makes an artifact that would be outshined by Rudy Scepter when it comes to speed good. Because the problem with Augustus Magic Ball is it's a squishy artifact. Block's not exciting.
It doesn't
speed
do much.
Attack. I can move quickly and I can punch things harder, but that's glass cannon territory. And that's in the current meta, not good. No. But actually giving it a defensive component actually was terrifying, because I think I said this about Magic Stone Sword. That I was like, whoa, Magic Stone Sword's so cool because it's got a defensive component but doesn't boost HP. So you can make that, and I was like, oh, they could do something really cool with this. Oh no, they just went the other way, and we're like, oh no, we're just gonna have an artifact that doesn't give HP but gives you mad defense, which means you can still do the cheesy stuff where you force the lowest HP stuff to hit that hero. It's just degenerate. In a meta where HP decides who gets hit, making no HP and being tank, it's so counterproductive that it's gorgeous.
It's so bad, it's good. In certain scenarios, it's just god tier. Now, against one big old hit, Augustus Magic Ball is not going to do too much for you. You're still going to go down like a wet paper bag, but if you get hit by little tiny pings, you get hit by feathers, you get hit by little arrows, it's just like -1, -1, -1. It's like so nice. And
damage is often the difference.
It will be interesting to see. I haven't seen anybody that actually has a splendid Magic Stone Sword. I think I made mine Radiant just to play around with it, but there's a big difference between 40% health in one shot and 30%. Because 30% means you can get hit by 3 nukes in a row and still be alive. 40% is no. That's 2 hits and then you're dead, essentially. Like, if you really think about getting, just like, for example, getting hit with like 3 giant penny actives in a row. One version keeps you alive, the other version you're already dead. Like, it's a huge difference. And I think that one is the one artifact where the level 1 version doesn't even compare with the level 3 version. Like, I know a lot of these, like we talking about glittery antlers, glittery Augustus Magic Ball. And that one's like, even at tier 1, it's amazing. It's really good. Now it becomes even more amazing the higher you get it. But it's not really necessary. You get the core aspect of the item at tier 1. Whereas I don't really think you get the core aspect of Magic Stone Sword at tier 1. You get the effect, yes, but the value is drastically different. The way it works out in a battle. Unless you have a ton of healing, then maybe. Yeah. But I just don't think we're going to see many people using it. I don't know.
It's got a lot. I mean, both of them, sorry to cut you off there, okay, but I think both of them have great shelf life moving forward. I think they really hit it like well, the balance. I think MSS is like, when we find a hero that can leverage a fully maxed MSS in combination with maybe like a Balrain that gets like the heal, because like that Augustus Magic Ball on Balrain is insane, because if she does get burst and doesn't get killed, she just heals back up, right? And then like she can heal maybe the hero that got burst and like reduced it with MSS. So when the heroes come into, like when the team can use those, it's going to be really scary. But I feel like they were both underappreciated. They were like on the fringe of playable, and now it's just like we need to upgrade these, and people are just like, I need, like, people are saying like, is it going to be Augustic Magic Ball next month for like campaign? It's like, what universe are we living in right now?
Where that was like the free to play one. It was like, oh, no. No. If only like Torch was the only other worse item. Especially since Rui came out and was faster. It was like, why would I use Augustus Magic Ball over Rui? Even if I don't have CC effects, Rui's just better in this PvP meta. It has HP and more speed. Simple as that. I mean, and then plus, like you're saying, if you have a splendid Augustus Magic Ball for Guild Wars, you're kind of set. Like you can literally throw that on so many heroes. You know what? How does that interact with Mem Cheese lineups? Is each death a separate passive ping?
I believe so.
Ooh, that could be a thing.
Anti-meme.
Someone needs to counter that. We're gonna counter MK's favorite hero. That could be interesting. We might have to have someone try that out and use it on just like one E5 with a bunch of 5 stars, and just throw it in on like one of the last days where you have like those 10 Mim Cheese lineups in tier 5, and just see how the fights go and if they just take no damage whatsoever. It's like it's almost like a Garuda on a stick. Like you just throw a Garuda against a Mim, but as an artifact on any hero you want.
Just make a bunch of 6-star Garudas and 6-star Starlights to give them all Augustus Magic Ball.
Did you like my 5? Did you like my 5 9-star Garudas? Did you see that? My food Garudas on the light account. I got 5 of them, and they worked amazing in Guild Wars against those Mim Cheeses. I was like, oh, what did I just find? I need 4 more. I need 5 more of these before I feed them. I seriously have like, I think 7 more Garudas, so I'll probably build like 2 or 3 more of them.
It's good though. Like them creating an artifact that like shifts the meta for heroes, I think is amazing. Like these heroes will get new builds. New heroes become like, I mean, they may be like, I've experienced a few of them in Aspen Dungeon, and that's super niche. I understand that, but just it refreshes the game, because like, what is this? Oh, this new artifact when fully upgraded, or even like at a 1-star upgraded, it's like it just changes how the rules work. And then you get into experimenter mode. You're like, all right, what hero can I toss this on? It's like, we put it on Michelle. Can we put it on Ada? Can we put it on these heroes? It's like, does it work? And then like just seeing that play out is just like, it's just a breath of fresh air. And to be able to do that with an upgraded artifact, I don't think that's really happened yet. Like, it's just good heroes got better, and the same heroes were carrying those artifacts. Now with this A and B thing, and I feel that MSS is coming. We just haven't had the time or the testing or the artifacts aren't there.
I would say so that many more people have A and Bs
than MSS.
Yeah, I think the limiting factor, like you were saying,
there's a lot of limiting factors.
Everybody wanted the Augustus Magic Ball, and like me, I have like 11,000 dust left, and I can't do the other Splendid I want, because it's like, well, I had to make a choice. I wanted to make at least a glittery Augustus Magic Ball, and I put the rest on the back burner for now. I gotta wait a month. But one thing GDP just said in chat is kind of a nice strategy here, is you have your whole entire guild invest in getting a Splendid Augustus Magic Ball, and then all you do is hit attack on every one of those forts, and because it is pre-combat attack, it gets added into your hero's attack for that fight. That's kind of broken.
Yeah, it's gross. I'm like, dude, there's Iron Mike. He's a pretty big name. Like, you probably see him in IDA a lot. He's on server 30 on my friends list. He has a double Rogan squad with the Balrain. It's like, it was the first night I tested, I was attacking him. I was like, all right, I'll test against him, because he usually has a really solid PvP team. And I couldn't kill his Balrain. Like, it didn't matter what I did. I was like, why isn't it dying? Like, it was just blowing. I was all right. So I had to message him like, what's on your Balrain? Like, it's just a level 1 A and B. I'm like, what? But then it's like the Russ giving her super heals. Like, it doesn't affect the A and B damage reduction, but just the synergy between like Russ. Like, so same thing. Like, upgrading your the force that you're attacking with attack, like boosting attack and with the A and B and like just the interaction of that. Again, being this attack being the new HP stat, it's like a really weird place we're in right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love it. I love it. It's just throwing things for a loop, and I think that's good. It's good for the game.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention something that I just read because it crossed my mind immediately. I was like, okay, who's got the most attack? Okay, Xayah.
Yeah.
Right. Versus Magic Ball was already the best artifact to stick on her. Okay, she gets more defense. And I just read, you know, June, that when she kills someone, she restores 100% of her max HP.
Yep.
She has self-heal. She has the highest attack stat in the game, and she has A and B. Have you tried a splendid A and B Xayah E5?
That's what I asked him the other day.
All I have is a glittery. I have a glittery.
Invest.
That counts free to play, man.
Invest. Make it happen. I saw that Xayah. I'm like, dude, wait, you also have a glittery Augustus Magic Ball? You got to upgrade that. Because that's exactly, I did the same thing MK did. I went and looked at the old damage charts, like an old Reddit post to see who had the highest damage. I was like, oh, it's Xayah. But I'm sure another hero's come out that has more attack. And I looked through every new hero, every light hero. They're all like half of the attack value she has. She's like over 40,000, I think, at 10-star. Like, she has the highest base attack in the game. I was like, is that viable? I didn't even notice what MK noticed, that she has a heal attached to it, too. So...
I was checking for I was reading. It's like hidden.
It's gonna be pretty cool.
It's a 1-star, so
exactly what MK said. It's kind of cool how a hero that just has no use can be brought back into the game because of these artifact upgrades, or not even just brought back, but have a use, at least somewhere, whether it's Aspen Dungeon or something like that, a use. Because even like McShot says in chat, the new Guild Wars is actually making heroes like having a Penny or an Aspen a lot more valuable, especially when you're just throwing one hero in a lineup. A Penny's gonna wreck shop. I was throwing a Russell in, like just a solo Russell. It was beating a lot of Mim Cheeses because it was killing everything before the damage procs. And so I was getting victories. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. I mean, everybody dies, but I'll take it. It works. But yeah, if you can get a Splendid and test that out. I mean, I think Splendid, until we see what Torch and Crown are next month, which is what, like 3 weeks away, essentially. Until we see what those two do, I downright say the best investment would be a Splendid Augustus Magic Ball for like every single person out there for Guild Wars. Yeah. For Guild Wars. Yeah, I mean, you can throw it on any hero and it's going to do work in Guild Wars for you. Yeah. It's just going to come down to, are you wanting... Because it kind of goes back to that thing we were talking about before. Are you invested in IDA and Trial of Champion? Or do you care more about your Crystal Crown League and Guild Wars where you only have one lineup, so you just need your 6 best artifacts? You don't need artifacts spread across 20, 30 heroes. I don't know. I guess it comes down to what MK was saying. It's all about the way you play, how you have fun. You got to decide, and that makes your choice.
Yeah, you got options now.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Even IDA doesn't even matter that much so more now that we can get a really good border without having to grind the crap out of it.
Yep. And like GDP said, artifacts are here forever too. And just what MK said, the borders. I mean, the new top tier border is essentially better than everything except for like maybe what, top 8 and up border in IDA. Like, it's better than Maverick in my opinion. Especially with the attack buff too.
Fire.
I mean, I think GDP said top 8 and up. Yeah, probably still better, which is a very small amount of people. They're going to get that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's gonna grind that? Like, who has the? Because you need so many E5s to really compete, and you need the luck of the draw, a lot of time invested throughout the month, right? It's just, there's a lot of things there just to get there, right? So most people, I would say the majority of people will try to make one big push, and then maybe they'll wait 3-4 more months till they get a couple more E5s, and then it's just, luck of the draw. So, but yeah, it's nice that they have a lot of options now, so you can really, again, I really like that we mentioned the revival of heroes or finding new uses, because that's one thing that a lot of players complain about is like, what happens to my Val, right? What happens to my the mistakes of heroes past or the meta shifting, and they get left behind, right? And it's nice to see that. I don't know if it's baked into the design, but we're getting new artifacts that are creating that avenue to reuse new heroes and repurpose them. And the PvP that is Guild Wars now, that where you get to use new heroes that They may be benched. Maybe they're 10 stars.
Yeah.
Maybe they're 9-star foods that you've just like left and you didn't want to feed off, right? But you can like, oh, there's a great use for them now, right? And I think it's nice to have a. It's always nice. I think this game, if it gets away from that, it might be kind of dodgy. But if they have 6, they still keep with the Crystal Crown League where they reward you for having a solid 6-man squad.
Yeah.
I think that's always good because then you'll always be able to slot in some heroes to still get use out of them. So I think it's good how they did Guild Wars where you can
definitely
kind of leverage that leveled up artifact. Because a lot of people don't want to do that. Like spending 4 AMBs to make 1, but have you seen the new AMB? It's like, it's wild. It's so crazy. So it's like, it gives people something to grind for. And I think that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what crown does, if it breaks the meta, if it's worth scrapping other crowns. Because again, I mean, as far as, I guess it's good for your defensive side in Guild Wars, but having multiple of an artifact isn't huge like we were talking about, because you really just care about that one of each artifact for whatever you want. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see next month. Hopefully Guild Wars, I don't know if it needs more tweaks or not. I guess that's kind of up to the community. But any final thoughts, guys? Anything else you wanted to touch on today, or anything that jumped out we didn't get a chance to talk about?
I think we're good.
Yeah, yep. I think we kind of covered everything we wanted to talk about. So yeah, we'll have to maybe revisit this in a month or so, see if they make more changes. Definitely revisit the new artifact in about a month, or not new artifact, which we should probably be getting new artifacts again, I imagine, at some point. It's been like 7 months now.
Yeah, I'd probably guess Halloween or Black Friday. One of the two. Probably
maybe Black Friday. I wonder if they're going to have new frames pay to win at all. I feel like now they add another way to get one for free, they might be lining up for another pay to win style one. I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Just don't have it speed. Please do not add speed. Oh,
even if it's just like 2 speed on level 1, it's like I'm using it over the HP.
No, don't do that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even invested in PvP, and I just know that's going to create this ripple effect inside of like, it's going to be a very bad reaction. Like the community's not going to take to that, because like crit and attack HP, it's like, all right, you got it. You paid the money, you get a border, that's fine. But there's speed, do that. Big mistake.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But yeah, Guild Wars is different. It's definitely different. Is it better? Some would say yes, probably. Some would say no. Some people like the old school style, set your lineup once, be done with it. Other people are actually enjoying the community aspect of it, the interaction with your guild mates, the planning, because there is a meta. You're focusing on where we're putting buffs on what towers, throwing attack buffs on the last day, doing things like GDP said, where get your whole guild to coordinate, get an Augustus Magic Ball, and just forget those HP buffs on all the forts, just go straight attack on everything, because attack is the new HP. So you know how it goes. But hopefully you guys enjoy this one. We'll come back and talk about Guild Wars again, don't worry. And I'll see you guys next time.